Hello and welcome to what will be an overview video for the tools on Levellift. First of all, go to levellift.co.uk and you'll have subscribed and you'll have access to the back end. So click Open App. It will load the back end of Levellift. First and foremost, we have dark view and light view. We have imperial and metric settings, and we have a downloadable instruction PDF. Across the top is the main architecture of the site. These will be the main menus, and below it there is sub-menus and a little bit here that will explain to you what you're looking at. So we'll go into the first menu page, which is select load and standard lift. This will be where you define your load. There will be an engineering diagram of the equipment you're doing, a rigging configuration to choose which configuration you want. There will be the type of hitch you want to apply. There is a load leveling, which we'll do a video on later on, but that would be for if you needed to level a load or to bring the load in at a certain angle, you can do that there. On the diagram itself, you have the dimensions and forces. Further down, you have key results of the slinging arrangement that you just created at the top, key results. Scope gate, this is for where you use a verification on certain things, recommended equipment for the slinging arrangement that you just performed, and the calculations to back up the as evidence for what you've just done on this page. As you move forward to the next page, advanced rigging, this is for slightly more intricate slinging arrangements. You can choose what you want to add into it, go into two legs, enable, change what the setup is, disable as well if you so desire. You can realign where you want your sling points. We have dimensions, forces, and the geometry. This is a exploded view of the rigging arrangement, which we find helps people dress slings and shackles properly on the correct legs. If you have a chain hoist attached into it, obviously you would be able to level the load again. An overview of the plan, load, center of gravity for when you want to dial in the center of gravity for something. Further down again, much the same as standard rigging page, you have the ability to inspect the left and right slings. Load definition, if you've just come through with a generic load, will help the software understand what it is you're lifting. You'll have some primary results that you need to see green. Key results will give you the tension, the same as standard rigging, an overview of the actual slinging arrangement you've just done. Validated scope gates, these will all need to be green and to be ensured that the user has taken account of various things like the center of gravity, stuff like that. This is a breakdown of the load leveling we've done, a load leveling study, same as standard rigging. You will have recommended equipment with the same utilization, same ability to change the equipment, same way to dial in the weight of the equipment for the tally. And again, you have calculation, breakdown, and uniform load method cross-check at the bottom. This is used for, again, advanced rigging setup, something where you might need to put quad links in, something where you might need something that you just can't achieve with the vanilla standard rigging. On load balance, this is a center of gravity tool. You would dial in your tools by section, your load by sections, and as you do that, it will work out the final center of gravity above and on a side elevation. As you change it around, it will constantly readjust. It will give you composite results, moment schedules, and again, calculation breakdown. If you wanted to apply that to spreader beam, you could do that and that will bring over the same load, but we will get to that in a moment. You can also apply it to sling calculations and again, work your rigging configuration and hitching based off that. So if on standard rigging, some of the loads are too generic for you, you can dial in and still come back and use the same tools at hand. If we go on to uneven load, this is very much similar. If you have an uneven load that you would like to work out the requirements for, it will give you sling lengths. You can change the depth, the height, the span, all that kind of stuff. It will give you key results, recommended equipment, sling summaries, pickup reaction analysis, and again, all fully backed by working calculations. You have the ability to pass this through to the spreader beam as well, and also apply to sling calculations, making it a very thorough system for getting exactly the correct load dialed in. And on its own, we have the spreader beam. This can be a single top point, two leg bridle. It gives you a plan view. If you needed to apply chain blocks to it, you can do. You can change the dimensions of the sling arrangement, the weight, the machine weight, the really dial in what it is you're looking for with that. If you were doing that with an uneven load as well, you can apply to spreader beam. It will work out where the hook is over resolving and make sure that you're lifting up correctly. If we go into the second main menu page, we get into the lift planner. We need to confirm to get into that. Have to complete the validation scopes to let me into it. It just allows you to not get ahead of yourself and make sure that you're planning something properly. On here, as in other videos, you'll see that we have the ability to plan lifts with calculation breakdowns, recommended equipment. Fleeting loads can be linked to sling calculations. So the same load that you build in there, you can come through and put it into fleeting loads, or you can have a generic load, which we'll do in this instance. You can have simple sling or no sling. You can dial in. This is used really for two block arrangements where the chain blocks are at different heights or even at the same heights, and you don't need the full extent of the lift planner to go through. It's good as a quick check, and also if you're just doing a two block lift. If you wanted to, you can remove some of the dims. You can change what is at the top, put slings on there, wires, what's the tail, figure of eights, that kind of stuff. You can raise it up, dial in exactly what you want. 50% between blocks is showing you the tension given. A really handy tool. We also have a max distance calculator here. So if you're looking how to plan or at what height of lift you could operate at on a 45-degree angle, that will give you the calculated distance. Very handy. Again, all backed by calculation breakdowns. With the export to PDF as well on here, if you wanted to make a very small, rough lift plan, you could do that. Take a snapshot, come to 50%, take a snapshot, come to the end or at a different elevation. You will see there you get warning because you're exceeding 45 degrees, as is the logic in Levellift. Take a final snapshot and you can export that to PDF, and that will give you a very, very short, quick lift plan if you didn't want to get into the finer details. Again, it's all backed by calculations, a fully dimensioned drawings, a very handy tool if you just want to get into the guts of a lift and it isn't a multi-block setup. Forces and components. We have a winch and sheaves set up here where you can dial in the weight of your load, how many falls you have, anchor point, anchor adjacent, and start to plan out lifts using winch pulls. We have a snatch block capacity check where you can dial in what your snatch block's good for, and a angle reference table. Pulling forces is if you're using for turfers and winches, horizontal. You can dial in different coefficients if it's steel on steel, etc. like that. We also have inclined pulling. If you don't know the friction reference table, it's here. You come down, you can look for steel on ice, steel on brass, etc. etc. Dial it into the coefficient, and it will give you the calculated force needed. Weight calculator is for working out spools if you don't have a reference sheet or if you don't have a load cell or anything like that. You can come dial in cylinders, hollow box, solid blocks. Calculated weight will be done there. Quick conversions table if you wanted to come down here, force, length, density, rather self-explanatory, and again a material density reference for when you want to come here and dial in this. Data and reference is exactly what it says. This is the friction table reference chart. Material density is found here. PDF library. This is where we keep some useful information, guidance for structural lifting, the Leah code of practice, that kind of stuff. You can come down here, use this as reference when required. And instructions is our Levellift instruction manual. You can jump through to the section you require. It's the same as the breakdown instruction PDF at the top of the page. Learning and safety regs is our final menu. Learning aids is within rigging geometry. Now, this is a great tool if you are new to the industry or just want to brush up on how things are done. If you've never taught it and you've winged it all your life, then this is where you're going to learn. Here you can dial in the exact load you want, the span, headroom, all that kind of stuff. This would represent a two-leg bridle. If you wanted to come down and figure out how to work out the alpha angle, well, the known value it shows you here is the beta at 46. It shows you the symmetry, the formula, the substitution, and the answer. Why you would do it, how to do it, how to learn. Down here is the SOHCAHTOA breakdown for things if you want to get into that side of it. And planning a sequence. This is how you would do it from the information found on site. This gives you a breakdown of, instead of just figuring out and learning the sling length or the span or the height, how you would do that. You would come down and work this into a real life situation. So you know that the load is 7.3 tons, you know the span is 4 meters, half the span gives you the half span, headroom. As you click along and figure these out, it will show you how to go from start to finish and resolve a two-leg bridle the correct way. Down here we have the uniform load method, which is a shorthand. It doesn't dial into specifics, but gives you generalized ranges. This will give you examples, how to work it out, and is a good quick reference when on site. Checklist is a LOLA statutory compliance audit that make sure you're conforming with all the proper regs, or even if you just wanted to refresh your mind with the regs, you can come onto LOLA regs and review in detail all 17 of them. So that was a very quick overview of the tools found within Levellift. I'll see you on the next one.